So, this area here was dominated by this massive tree. And this tree went up 30-40 feet and was knocking down cables, and the homeowner, my mother, was worried it was going to fall down, which it may well have done. So we cut that down, I don't know how long ago. There was three stems, one of them's underground. Cut that down about 2 months ago maybe, and that left an area here which was really just a tip. It was all just garbage underneath the ground, and it was completely unusable. It was all broken flagstones and mud and just a mess because the tree was here and you couldn't get in here. So I started the process by building this patio up here, because this was another sort of completely useless area, just hopeless. There's my there's the seat and roof garden that I built 2 years ago now. And over there is this matching one over there. I'll go and look at it, because the amazing thing about this is these roof gardens is that you just put some seeds on virtually nothing and they grow into this. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know how it works, but it's been there for 2-3 years. So there's some plants, alpines like these, that simply just don't need any assistance. They'll grow anywhere, on anything. So back to this. This has taken me 6 weeks at least. I started off by relaying the stones, cutting them and laying them down and making this border. And then I thought I'd build a little feature. So there's a water feature, which is quite nice. It's lined with lime mortar, and it's got agates at the bottom. And then it seemed a bit odd on its own, so I built this wall here along the side. Before, this was just a mess again. It was all broken stuff, and I had to dig it all out and level it up. The wall itself will now be structurally better because there's no ivy growing in it and bringing it down. Then I thought, well, we might as well just keep going. So I built this wall here along the side. That was just a collapsing border before wild. Interesting thing about this for you stone fetishists is that I used virtually pure sand because I couldn't get any concrete, and that's about a 1 to 15, 1 to 20 mix, and it actually looks better than any other mix I've made. So that very, very low concrete mix can be aesthetically very pleasing. Then I just had some stones left. I had to cut some in half. That's the top ones, and then, so I just finished it off. And then before all that, I'd built this a circular thing. The idea was to make a seating area, but there wasn't enough room and there was no concrete, so I just made this big circle. And today I've just done this little bit of artwork there, little sun. So I think this might have a sundial. I might make the whole thing into a sundial. But basically, this is how you convert. This is where the tree used to be. It's a little alpine area now. This is how you convert. I think that's going to be flowers, or I don't know what's going to be along here yet. But this is how you convert an area that was just unused. And I think the reason it was unused was in the past you didn't have your recycling centres, and underneath here was, under the ground, was old iron fireplaces, heaps and heaps of old bricks, old pots and pans. It was just a dump. So I've taken all of that out. I've dug it down 6 feet down to the clay, removed everything, and now we have this very ornate and pretty little area, albeit 6 to 8 weeks work to actually do all this. Blackbird seems to like it. So that matches in with all the other things I've done over the years. Raised beds, artificial walls, border areas, little sort of areas that weren't growing, and I've sort of built little pathways. And further up at the back, some little wild area here. Some of my earlier attempts at building things like this little pathway here, not quite so sophisticated. I need to finish this off. I think it was the first thing I built was this raised bed here, and its matching friend over there. I built this pathway here with these boulders and that, just to make everything accessible. And the first wall I built was in this area here, which you can't see. This used to be a coal bunker, I need to get rid of all this. This is just my residual work stuff. But I cleared all that, and then I built this wall here. This is my first ever wall to turn again what was a completely unused dump into a sort of very usable flower bed up at the back of the garden. And of course I relaid and rebuilt all this. You can see all the dates on things. 2020. So I made this slab last year. It's all fallen to bits. And the first thing I did was to get the water out of the garden. I built this undergate slough, is that the word? You can see that says 2017. So that was probably the first thing I ever did. The other thing I've done, of course, inside the garage, and you can't see it inside the garage, is down at the end there. I've completely relaid the garage floor. I dug it, 6 feet deep, and put in tons and tons of concrete, because this garage was forever flooded, and the reason was that the water was coming up through the ground, and there was only a sort of 3-inch slab, and it was just coming up through the cracks and flooding the garage. But that's all been fixed now. As you can see, I've got just 1 or 2 tools in here, and that takes us up to date. I think on the most recent thing as well, we have I don't know if you can see that, it says 2021, and I've just painted a little sunny thing on it today. I needed something that was just a bit too grey. Fairly reflects in the sun. I don't know if that'll stick. If it doesn't stick, I'm going to chisel it out and I'll sculpt a hole and then put resin in, gold resin, and it'll actually be embedded at that stage. So there we are. That's what I've spent all summer doing, and now hopefully I'll be able to stop building and get on my bike, get some exercise, because although this makes you quite strong, it plays havoc with your joints, and you're always tired and you eat too much because you're always trying to get energy back up.